So let's begin in a comfortable seat, coming into a cross-legged position. Maybe swing from side to side as you root down a little more firmly onto the ground, or maybe even onto a towel or blanket. Begin to draw the crown of your head up towards the ceiling, creating some space for the spine. Feel your shoulders softening down. Your hands can rest either in your lap or on the ground. You might find a drishti, a non-moving focal point in front of you, allowing the eyes to be soft, or maybe you even take the eyes closed. Without changing it in this moment, bring awareness to your breath. Notice how you are breathing. If you are breathing in and out through the nose or through the mouth. Noticing where the belly is filling. Maybe you feel it more so on the front part of the belly or the rib cage or the back, maybe the chest. We'll begin with a little bit of breath work called boxed breathing or box breathing, where we inhale for a count of 4, we hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and then hold after that exhale for a count of 4. So let's exhale all of the air out of our lungs to prepare. Draw the air in through the nose for a count of 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Last time, inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Offer yourself a full breath in. Maybe a sweet exhale, audible exhale out. Allow the breath to return back to neutral and normal. We'll bring our palms to touch in front of the heart. Start to rub the hands back and forth, creating some heat. And once you feel some nice warmth between your hands, intuitively place your hands somewhere on your body. Notice where your hands land. You might hold your hands in stillness, or maybe you find a little bit of gentle massaging. Let's bring our palms to touch in front of our heart again, rubbing them back and forth. And then as you are ready again, we'll intuitively place our hands somewhere. It could be the same place, it might be a different place that needs some attention. And then we'll return our hands into our lap. Gently blink your eyes open if they are closed. We're gonna swap out the leg that's in front. And just as you need to, let the top of the head reach up towards the ceiling. We're gonna find some circles with our upper body. So we're gonna draw our chest from knee to knee as we inhale. And as we exhale, start to round through the spine. Completing that circle, full breath in as you draw your body forward. Finding circles with your breath. And then we'll take these circles in the opposite direction, continuing to pair our breath with our movement. And then slowly begin to unwind, making your circles smaller and smaller until you arrive at a neutral spine. At your own pace, make your way onto hands and knees. Placing a blanket or a towel beneath the knees if you need some more cushion. Once you arrive there, check in with your alignment so that you are stacking your joints, shoulders above wrists, hips above knees. From here, let's soften or close our eyes and find some intuitive movement. Maybe you sway the hips from side to side, or take a few rounds of cat and cow, or something else altogether. Coming back to a neutral tabletop, we'll curl our toes under, walk our hands towards our knees, sitting back onto the heels, coming into a toe squat. You might keep your hands connected with the mat. If you want more sensation, walk your hands onto your thighs as you draw the top of your head up towards the ceiling. If your hands are connected with the ground, you might turn your fingers in towards the center of the mat. Feeling what that stretch brings to your body, maybe turning the fingers away to the outsides of the mat and even back towards your knees. If you're in this uplifted position, you could take the tops of your hands and place them on the outside of the rib cage with the fingers pointing towards the armpits, offering a little bit of gentle compression onto the hands. You're always welcome to pop out of this mindfully as you need to. Feel your breath. Replant your hands if they aren't already. Come into tabletop, tap out the tops of your feet. Pause for a moment in stillness and notice what sensations arise. Curl your toes under once again. Walk your hands towards your body, coming back into your toe squat. Choose what variation you would like to take for the hands, the arms. Maybe you stay in stillness, or maybe you find some gentle movement for the wrists or shoulders. Come back to tabletop, tap out your feet. As you're ready, find stillness. Breathe and feel. Curl your toes under, lift your knees, send your hips up towards the ceiling. Walk your hands forward, maybe a step or so. Finding some length for the spine. Look towards your feet. Start to find some movement for the feet and the legs. You might draw the heels up and down. Maybe windshield wiper the heels from side to side. Exploring your own body in this downward facing dog. With a full breath in, reach your right foot up towards the ceiling, squeezing at your glute, three-legged dog. As you exhale, bend that right knee, guide it towards your face. Inhale to re-extend the right leg. Offer yourself a deep bend through both knees as you guide your right foot between your hands. Keep your back leg hovering. You might have to kind of wiggle the feet or wiggle the foot back, finding some length for that left leg. You can plant your left hand either onto your mat or onto your block. If you have one, we'll sweep the right fingers up towards the ceiling. You're welcome to stay here in stillness, or maybe you will find some movement for your shoulder. Making circles with the arm. Inhale, reach your hand towards the ceiling. And we'll replant the right hand onto the ground. We're going to guide the back knee onto the mat. Offer yourself cushion as you need to. Take your time setting up your foundation for this low supported lunge, making sure that the right knee is above its ankle. As you're ready, rise. You need more stability. Walk your front foot a little bit wider. Draw your navel towards your spine. Inhale, arms high. And exhale, open the arms out to a T. Full breath in, reach your hands high. As you exhale, sweep your hands behind your low back, interlacing your fingers, squeeze your shoulder blades. Your chest will naturally open. You're welcome to stay here with your breath, or you could start to draw your right shoulder above your right knee. Coming into a humble lunge. If it feels okay, maybe you allow the head to soften down. Releasing the neck. Carefully release your hands to frame your front foot. We'll plant the right hand on the inside of the right foot so we can gently kick it back into tabletop. And then send the hips high for downward facing dog. Find a little bit of movement. With a full breath in, reach your left foot up towards the ceiling. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, extend. And then find a deep bend through both knees as you plant your left foot between your hands. Adjust as you need to, maybe kicking your right foot back a little further behind you. Plant the right palm into a block or onto your mat and sweep the left hand up towards the ceiling. Option to stay here in stillness or find movement for your arm and shoulder. Inhale, reach your fingers up towards the ceiling. And then release that left hand onto the ground. Right knee comes down to the mat. When you are feeling stable, rise up. Full breath in, palms reach towards one another. Exhale, arms come out to a T. Inhale, reach. As you exhale, release your hands behind your low back, interlace your fingers, squeeze your shoulder blades. You're welcome again to stay here in stillness. You might offer yourself the same variation for this side, or maybe you try something different, drawing the left shoulder above the left knee. You want that humble experience. With control, release your hands down to the mat, framing your front foot. And then again, we'll actually keep the frame of that front or the hand. So you can keep your right or your left hand, oh my goodness, left hand on the outside of your left foot. We're gonna tuck the back toes so we can step forward into a forward fold. Intuitively find stillness or movement in your forward fold. You might offer yourself a little bend in the knees or maybe a big bend. Allow the neck to be soft if that feels okay. With the feet rooted firmly onto the ground, we'll slowly rise up one vertebrae at a time. There's no rush to get there. We'll make our way to standing. And once you arrive in mountain, start to find some gentle movement for the shoulders. Maybe taking circles with the shoulders at the same time, or maybe you alternate shoulders. Allow the shoulders to soften in stillness. We'll sweep our hands up towards the ceiling, taking a steeple grip with the hand, so interlacing all of the fingers except for the pointer fingers, maybe the thumbs, reaching towards the ceiling. And then we're going to gently bend towards the right, keeping the foundation of our lower body. Engaging in the belly. Draw yourself back up to center. We'll take this to the other side. Come back to center. Release your hands down at your sides. We're going to take our feet a little bit further than hip width distance. Not much further. Just creating a little bit more stability. Take your arms out at your sides. Take a full breath in. And then we'll exhale as we twist towards the right, looking over the right shoulder. Inhale back to center. And exhaling to the left. Keep moving with your own breath, inhaling as you arrive at center. You can choose where the palms go. Maybe they flip up towards the ceiling or maybe down towards the ground. And then we'll release the hands at the sides. Go ahead and find some movement, maybe shrugging the shoulders. On a deep breath in, guide your hands up towards the ceiling, palms come to touch. So you exhale, bend through the elbows and guide your hands through heart center, shifting forward from the hips, dive down into your forward fold. Offer yourself anything that you need here, movement or stillness. Maybe you take your hands to opposite elbows and dangle in ragdoll. Feel your breath nice and full. Slowly begin to rise up to standing. Once you arrive, you're going to plant your left foot in the top left quadrant of your mat and step your right foot back so that the edge of your foot is parallel with the back edge of your mat. So we're heading into Warrior Two. Our hips are facing that long edge of our mat as well. Arms come parallel to the ground. Check in with your front leg, making sure that the left knee is above the ankle. Flip your palms up towards the ceiling. On a breath in, straighten through the front leg, making sure not to collapse the knee. We're going to guide the palms towards one another, up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, come back to Warrior Two, re-bending the front knee. Inhale, straightening through the front leg, palms come towards one another. Keep moving with your own breath. Nice and gentle. Come back to Warrior Two, find a moment of stillness. We'll reach the left hand forward. So we start to slide out of our hips. And then we're gonna guide the right hand up towards the ceiling. Your left arm could rest on the left thigh very gently, or maybe you want to reach for the ground or to a block. Breathe some spaciousness from that right hand all the way down to your right ankle. Rise back up to Warrior Two. We're going to straighten through the front leg as we guide the left hand high. Gently rest your right hand on the back of your right thigh. Come back to Warrior Two. Arms parallel to the ground. We're going to press through our heel, our left heel, as we guide our left toes in the same direction as the right toes. Go ahead and release your hands. We're going to shift down from our hips, reaching for the ground, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. Adjust your stance as you need to. Maybe you want the feet in a little bit closer together or further apart. You might keep your hands connected on the ground. Maybe you take your hands to the outsides of your ankles if that feels okay. Replant your hands onto the ground. You might heel toe your feet in towards each other a little bit. And then we're going to walk our hands towards the top of our mat. Stepping forward, coming into a forward fold. With the fingers connected to the ground, and you can take any kind of bend you need for the knees here. Walk your fingers over to the right. So they're outside of your right foot. Allow the neck and the head to be soft. Walk your hands to center and then over to the left. Come back to center. Very carefully rise up one vertebrae at a time. We'll plant our right foot in the front right corner of our mat as we step our left foot back. Setting up for warrior two on the other side. Take your time. Maybe you bounce in and out through that front leg, bending and straightening. Adjust your stance as you need to. And again, with warrior two, our hips are facing this long edge of the mat. Arms are parallel to the ground. You can choose if the palms are down towards the ground or up. Might be easier if they're facing up. For this next position, we're going to straighten through the front leg as we guide the palms towards one another. Full breath in. Exhale, rebending the front leg, warrior two. Inhale, straightening the leg, guiding the palms together. Exhaling into warrior two. Keep moving with your breath. Come back to warrior two. Maybe you flip the palms. We're going to reach the right hand forward as we guide the left hand high. Resting maybe on the thigh or choosing your own variation for that right hand and arm. Breathe space along the left side of your body. Come back to warrior two. And then we'll straighten through that front leg as we guide the right hand high. Rebend through your front leg, warrior two. Pressing into your right heel. Turn your right toes in. Same direction as your left toes. And again, we'll gently come into a wide-legged forward fold. You might take the same variation as you did the last time, or maybe you try something different. You could take your hands behind your low back, interlacing the fingers, squeezing the shoulder blades. Carefully release your hands down to the ground. Walk your feet in just a little bit closer. And then guide your hands or walk your hands to the top of your mat, coming into a forward fold. Offer yourself a generous bend through both knees as you drape your belly or your chest onto your thighs. Plant your hands, step your feet back, downward facing dog. See what your body wants here. Exploring movement or stillness. Feel your breath. Carefully begin to lower your knees down to the mat. We're gonna come into a child's pose. You have the option of coming into a traditional child's pose with the legs close together, or if you want to work more into the hips and low back, you can take your knees wide with your big toes touching. As you're ready, sink your hips back towards your heels. Walk your hands forward, lower your forehead or your temple onto your mat or a block. Give yourself permission to settle and ground. See if there are any places where you can soften and release. You're welcome to stay exactly as you are. If you would like a little bit more of a stretch for the side body, you can walk your hands over to the right, maybe crossing that left hand on top of your right hand. If you took your hands over to the right, walk your hands back to center, pause for a breath or two. And then make your way over to the left. Guide your hands back through center. Lift your forehead away from your block or the mat. Walk your hands in towards your body. And then shift yourself up onto all fours. We'll press in through the left palm as we reach the right fingers up towards the ceiling. And then we'll release that right hand, thread it behind the left arm as you gently lower your right shoulder and arm, cheek or ear onto the ground. Before we settle in, we'll press through the left palm as we reach the right fingers just a little bit more. And then find some sense of softening. Maybe you walk your left hand towards the top of your mat. You could lift it into the air, leaving it suspended, or maybe you bind it behind your low back. See if you can release any unnecessary gripping. Replant your left hand beneath your left shoulder or just by your face. We'll press through the left palm. Re-extend your right hand high. And then we'll replant the right hand. We'll take this to the other side, lifting the left fingers up towards the ceiling. And then sweeping that hand behind the right arm. Before settling in, press through the right palm as you reach the left fingers. And then choose the variation you want to take for that right hand. Might be the same, it might be different from the other side. Find some places where you can soften. Replant your right hand. Press through the palm as you guide your left hand high. And then we'll release that hand onto the mat. From this tabletop position, let's close our eyes and just find some natural and intuitive movement. In your own time, we'll make our way onto our bellies, resting on the forearms and the hands, coming into Sphinx. You might sway the hips a little bit as you start to settle. And then in this pose, the elbows are beneath the shoulders. If that's too much compression for your back, you could take your arms just a little bit wider or even take your legs a little wider apart. We'll reach through the top of the head, just making sure that we're not caving into the shoulders. Your option to stay here, you have the option to stay here in stillness, or if you want some movement for the neck, you could trace your chin from shoulder to shoulder. Maybe pausing in any areas that need a little bit of attention and breath. Before we make our way into our next pose, I'm going to demonstrate it really quickly. So if you have blocks, what we're going to do is we're going to place the blocks under our chest or pecs or shoulders, near the collarbones. So you're welcome to grab your blocks if you have them. If you don't have them, that's okay. You can just lower yourself completely onto the ground, guiding your ear to the mat. If you have blocks, adjust them as you need to, and then you can guide your temple or your forehead to the ground. We'll sweep our arms in at our sides. Find length on your inhalations. Inviting more breath into the lungs. If you have your head turned to one side, go ahead and turn it to the other side. Replant your hands. Begin to press yourself up into tabletop. Move any props out of the way and then head onto your back. Once you're feeling settled on your back, draw your knees in towards your chest, grabbing onto the knees or the shins. Maybe you find a little bit of movement, rocking side to side or tracing circles with the knees. Replant your feet, keeping the knees up towards the ceiling. We're gonna lift our right foot. We're gonna plant our ankle on top of our left thigh, just beneath the knee. Setting up for a reclined figure four. Tune into any sensation you might be feeling in your hip. If you feel that you want and need more sensation, lift your left foot away from the ground. Thread your hands behind your left thigh or maybe even onto your left shin if your body is open to that. And then you might even, if you need more sensation, gently pull on your left thigh. You might keep your left leg, the lower part of the left leg, lifted parallel to the ground, or maybe you just let it relax. Allow your breath to be full. Offer yourself one more full breath here. And then gently release the left foot to the mat. Uncrossing the right foot and planting it. We'll gently sway the knees from side to side. Guide your knees back up towards the ceiling. We'll take our figure four to the other side, crossing our left ankle on top of the right thigh. Seeing how this side feels before we try anything else. If you want more sensation, pick up that right foot, thread your hands behind your right thigh. And although this is a little bit more active of a position, see if there's any place where you can soften and release any unnecessary gripping. Checking in with your forehead, eyes, temples, jaw. Releasing any unnecessary gripping in the chest or the shoulders. Release your right foot onto the mat if it isn't already. Unwind the top leg. Sway your knees from side to side mindfully. Draw your knees up towards the ceiling. Pressing in through the bottoms of the feet, we'll lift the hips just a little bit. We're gonna set them to the right a few inches, lowering the knees to the left. And then we're gonna guide that right leg on top of the left leg, or just start to kick the right leg out a little bit more. Taking your right hand, you're gonna reach. You might have to adjust a little bit here. Reach for your left toes or foot. And then we're gonna take our left hand onto our right knee. And then ever so gently, we're gonna start to lift the right knee up towards the ceiling. So you'll kind of start to feel your low back coming onto the ground or coming a little closer to the ground. The target area here is that left quad group or the left hip. If you're not feeling sensation there, you might be feeling sensation somewhere else where you need it. If you're not feeling sensation, you could maybe guide your left heel a little closer towards your glute. Slowly release your right knee down to the ground. Release the grip of your right hand. Take your arms out nice and wide. We'll keep the knees over to the left for a couple more breaths. Guide your knees back up towards the ceiling. Press in through the bottoms of the feet, lift the hips, set them to the left a few inches, lowering the knees to the right. We're going to start to kind of kick that right leg so that the right heel is a little closer to the glutes. Reach for the right toes. I wonder if I got the directions mixed up. So we're taking our left hand, reaching for the right toes. Right hand comes onto the left knee. Gently start to lift the left knee towards the ceiling. Maybe even opening that leg up just a little bit more towards the left. Guide your left knee to meet the right leg. Release the hands, open them out to a T. So maybe you cross your left or top leg over the right leg. You might take your left ear to the ground. Guide your knees back to center. We'll come into a brief happy baby, drawing the knees towards the chest and then letting the knees start to splay out at the sides, bottoms of the feet. Guide up towards the ceiling. Maybe you plant your hands onto the bottoms of your feet, onto your ankles or shins or knees. Offer yourself movement or stillness. Release the hands, guide your knees in towards one another. And then we'll stretch our legs long onto the ground. Reach your hands overhead. Find a steeple grip. Offer yourself a full body stretch. And then release. Offer yourself any items for comfort, warmth, or support. Setting up for your final resting pose, Shavasana. Giving yourself permission to rest. Know that it is completely normal for the mind to wander and daydream as you rest here. You might just be a witness to those thoughts and visions. Or perhaps you come back to your breath or your physical body in those moments. You'll hear my voice again as it is time to reawaken. Who you are is so much more than what you do. The essence shining through heart, soul, and center, the bare and bold truth of you does not lie in your to-do list. You are not just at the surface of your skin, not just the impulse to arrange the muscles of your face into a smile or a frown, not just boundless energy or bone-wearing fatigue. Delve deeper. You are divinity, the vast and open sky of spirit. It's the light of God, the ember at your core, the passion and the presence, the timeless, deathless essence of you that reaches out and touches me. Who you are transcends fear and turns suffering into liberation. Who you are is love. Bring awareness to your breath. Begin to invite slow and gentle movements into your fingers and toes, hands and feet. You may offer yourself a full body stretch, or maybe you roll over to one side, pausing in the fetal position. Eventually making your way into a comfortable seat to close. Allowing the eyes to remain soft or closed so that you can remain in your internal world just for a few moments longer. Placing one hand over your heart and one over your belly. Slight tuck of your chin. Feeling a connection to your true self. We'll bring both of our hands together in front of the heart. Thank you for sharing your evening and your practice with me. The light within me sees and appreciates the light within you. Namaste. Thank you so much.